Joining me now are Bill Hemmer and Martha McCallum, the anchors of America's Newsroom. They're over in our skybox, looking very cool. So we spent a week together in Ohio. Here we are in Pennsylvania. It's no secret, Bill Hemmer, that Donald Trump and his convention got very critical scrutiny from the media. The coverage of the Hillary and the Democrats up until now seems to lack the same intensity. Your thoughts?
I think that'll change, Howie, but I do believe this. As long as we're in the prediction business, there will be half an eye on this convention hall for the next 4 days, and there'll be half an eye on Donald Trump. You don't know what he will do in terms of communication or appearances or tweets. Very unpredictable. And just like we saw at the tail end of the Ted Cruz speech in Cleveland, Ohio, his appearance inside the arena took the carpet right underneath of Ted Cruz. What will he do? That's one thing I think you need to watch. The other thing are the protesters. This place blew up 16 years ago when the Republicans came here for their convention. And they will be out in force, much more significant than we saw in Cleveland, Ohio. And my third hunch is that by Wednesday, all this matter about Bernie Sanders will be behind the DNC and Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, I think you're right about
Martha,
that.
Pick up on Bill's point.
Yeah, when you look at the sort of... Go ahead. Sorry, Howie, we've got a little bit of a delay, and we're just getting the kinks out here because we just sat down in this brand new set just a few minutes ago. But basically, I think you're going to see the Democratic National Committee try to sort of shift it to a lighter, more optimistic tone here. They are definitely hinging upon the idea and the theme that it was a very dark convention for the RNC and that they're going to try to be lighter and more optimistic. But they're also going to have to play that off of Hillary Clinton's record and really the true state of how things are in the world right now. Even the president chimed in and said, you know, that it was a dark convention and that it portrayed a sort of dangerous world. And what we found in Cleveland is that a lot of people do feel that they live in a dangerous world. So they're going to try to counterbalance that message here in Philadelphia.
But Martha, pick up for a second on Bill's point about we're likely to have almost a split-screen experience this week with Donald Trump still making news while the Democrats gather here in Philadelphia. During the Cleveland convention, there really wasn't much Hillary. She came back into the news, obviously, on Saturday with her pick of Tim Kaine. What does that tell us about the news business? Because doesn't Donald Trump, frankly, still drive ratings and clicks even when it's not his week to have a convention?
Yeah, it's kind of one of the benefits of going first in a way because you've already laid down your markers and set your theme. So they're going to try to reinforce that theme over and over. The RNC has been sending out, emails. Last week, it was interesting because the DNC was sending out a lot of stuff. At one point, they sent out a list of the speakers for the RNC, and then they had everything crossed off except, some of the people that we saw to sort of send the message that they hadn't been successful in lining up the speakers that they wanted to at the RNC. So there's always that oppo effort that's going on. But at least Donald Trump sort of already has his in the bag, and he can react to what's going on here in Philadelphia. And no doubt he'll do that. He did this morning with his tweets and social media that we always see from him.
And, Bill, what about the story that's really kind of starting to bubble up this weekend about these 20,000 hacked DNC emails, including some embarrassing comments and trash talking about Bernie Sanders, leading to the point that Debbie Wasserman Schultz, the party chair, is now not going to speak at her own Democratic convention. Is that going to scramble the storyline for the press compared to what we all thought it would be 48 hours ago?
I don't think there's any question. It will, Howie, and I don't think it's good at all for the DNC. I don't think it's good at all for Debbie Wasserman Schultz. Bernie Sanders has been breathing down her neck for months right now. He wants her out. I'm not suggesting she will be out, but we understand she won't be speaking. There were some reports already this morning that the position she has to preside over this convention will no longer last. If that's the case, just like Republicans perhaps had a few distractions on Monday and a few more on Tuesday, I would expect the same for the DNC. This will not start smoothly. We know that already, Howie.
And, Martha, the way in which the press largely covered Donald Trump's speech, dark, some called him a demagogue, a lot of fear, there weren't a lot of light moments. Does it seem to you that journalists and some pundits talk about Donald Trump differently than any presidential candidate in the past? Obviously, there are many differences, including his outsider status.
Yeah. I think they do. I mean, I think in a way he opens himself up to that because of the nature of his tweets and how brash he is in his talk. The fact that the whole country sort of already knows him in that reality TV show sense from The Apprentice and all of that. But yeah, the gloves have been off for a long time between the press and Donald Trump, and it does feel as if that it's okay, to jump on him. It's okay to put him in a framework that is definitely more sort of belligerent in an open way. way by many in the press. So it's a challenge, you know, to cover all of this in a very fair way and to listen to what each candidate is saying and to hold them accountable for what they're promising in these speeches and kind of let that bigger picture fall to the wayside and stick to the facts of what each party is presenting. And, you know, when I was driving in here, there was a big billboard that said, "Hillary, we have your back. You know, love the media," as if it was a post-it note to her as she came into Philadelphia.
From the RNC.
So, yeah, exactly.
I would just add to that, Howie. I think the RNC, I think Republican voters care a lot about that. I don't think Donald Trump cares about it. Yeah. You know, when he sent a tweet out last week talking about Melania's speech, and he said, "If you believe all press is good press," and I think that's what he lives by. As long as people are talking about him, he feels that he's winning the day, Howie.
That tweet nailed it, and naturally you two did as well. I should mention that you'll be anchoring a 2-hour coverage from Philadelphia at the top of the hour, and since you've been so nice to me, I might wander over there and join you. Bill and Martha,
Please
thanks.
do.
I look forward to it. Thanks,
See you,
Howie.
All right. So one of the biggest